Certainty is the opposite of possibility. Certainty feels safe, and that's why we cling to it, because it gives the nervous system something solid to hold on to, a familiar identity, a familiar income level, a familiar business model, a familiar version of reality where we know what's possible, what's not possible, what usually happens, what people usually do, and what we can reasonably expect. But certainty has a hidden cost because certainty collapses possibility. Because the moment we become completely certain about what is true, what is possible, what we're capable of, what the market will do, what clients will pay for, or how our future is allowed to unfold, we close the door on everything that does not fit inside that current frame. And the problem is that everything we want, everything we want, that's beyond the limits of our current frame lives outside our current frame. The next level of income is outside our current frame. The next level of impact is outside our current frame. The next level of personal power, love, visibility, leadership, creativity, wealth, joy, ease, turn on, aliveness, flow is outside our current frame. And if it was already inside our current certainty structure, we would already have it. And this is why the future that we say we want requires a certain depth of certainty. It requires us to let go of our death grip on knowing, on being able to see the whole path, on knowing exactly what's going to happen, on being able to predict every move in the chess game, not because certainty is bad, right? Certainty is useful when we're stabilizing, when we're executing, when we're making decisions, when we're building trust with ourselves. But certainty becomes a principle when it's built from the past. Most people call it being realistic or being rational or being logical. But very often, realism is just loyalty to yesterday. It's loyalty to a past version of us. It's loyalty to a way things have unfolded before, even if we didn't particularly care for those outcomes. Because it's like, I know what works, right? I know what people will buy. I know what I'm capable of. I know how this usually goes. I know this won't happen for me. I know this is what happens. And that kind of knowing feels responsible, but it's actually just control dressed up as wisdom. And control is the nervous system's attempt to prevent surprise. Perfectly reasonable, but possibility requires surprise. Possibility requires something new to enter the field, right? A new client, a new idea, a new identity, a new opportunity, a new level of capacity, a new version of you who can hold, who can create, who can receive, who can lead at a level that your current self cannot fully understand yet. That is why growth feels uncomfortable. Not because the thing is inherently hard, difficult, or challenging. Not because it requires a massive increase in the amount of effort and energy and time and all those things, not because we're incapable or less capable, but because the version of us who wants the next level has to loosen its grip on the worldview that created the current level. To create a future that is even slightly better than the past, we have to admit, maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's possible. Maybe I don't know what people would pay for. Maybe I don't know how fast things can change. Maybe I don't actually know how powerful I am. Maybe I don't know what God, life, the market, or my own deeper intelligence is capable of bringing through me once I stop gripping the old map. That is the doorway. Because certainty says only what I currently see is real. Possibility says what I can currently see is only a fraction of what's available. Certainty wants guarantees before it moves. Possibility requires movement before the guarantee appears. Certainty asks for control. Possibility asks for trust. Certainty protects the identity that got us here. Possibility invites in the identity that can take us there. And that is the great threshold that every founder eventually reaches. Because the next level of the business will not fit inside the consciousness that built the current one. The next level of income will not fit inside the same relationship to safety, to risk, to visibility, to receiving, and power. The next level of impact will not fit inside the same identity, the same schedule, the same offer, the same team, the same message, or the same nervous system. And at some point, we have to loosen our attachment to what we are so certain about so that something greater can enter. Not recklessly, not passively, not by abandoning discernment or becoming irresponsible, but by creating enough inner space to let a better future reveal itself. The founder who is currently addicted to certainty knows deep down that they can only recreate the past with slightly better branding. It's like putting lipstick on a pig, right? And pigs are beautiful. Pigs are beautiful creatures, but lipstick doesn't change much, right? The founder who can tolerate uncertainty, who builds a relationship with the unknown, which requires dancing with God, which requires practicing trust falling into the arms of the universe over and over and over and over again, knowing that it's not going to get easier just because you do it a lot. That person becomes available to a future that exceeds their current imagination. And that is the paradox. The more certain you are, the less room there is for God. The more certain you are, the less room there is for life. The more certain you are, the less room there is for possibility, for genius, for creativity, for synchronicity, and for emergence to surprise you. And the less room there is for miracles. The more willing you are to release certainty, the more possibility can enter. And every next level begins there. Not by knowing exactly how it will happen or when it'll happen, but by becoming available to the possibility that it can. How would it feel to build a business where this is what you sell and how you sell, this is what you sell and how you deliver, this is what brings more of the right people to you, this is what grows your brand, this is what makes you money, this is what you wake up in the morning and when you look at your calendar, you're like, gonna do more of that, gonna do more of that, gonna do more of that. Like, this is life as art. This is business as art. This is bringing the soul back into business. This is letting God lead us to our highest creation, right? This is you edging yourself into liberation because the ecstasy of that state is something that there are, I think for you, like millions of women who want to access their liberation through yours. And only when we allow ourselves to unravel can this energy emerge. But what if the next level of your business is not uh, an increase in the doing and the thinking and the performing and all those things, but actually the exact inverse, an unraveling and undoing, a falling back, an unwinding, because the magic has always been there. You are the magic, right? That's the origin point of the value. That is the diamond that is sitting in the middle of your heart.
It feels like you just like penetrated the deepest part of my soul.
Because this is the art of leading someone in the most exquisitely attuned way to their ultimate liberation, which is actually what BDSM is about. So the space is the product because the space is the field, and the field is where someone gets retuned to their source. Once you see this, every other way of selling, scaling, building a business, like making money will feel so dissonant. It'll feel like fucking nails on a chalkboard. Like, it'll be like, what the actual fuck? And so it this is cool that we're talking about this because I think this is the future of selling expertise. So this morning, you guys will like this. I realized that the the way that expertise is sold is typically one of three levels or multiple of these combined, which is do it yourself, which is usually some sort of a course, right? Or some training of some sort. Done with you, which is some sort of a program of sorts. It could be one-on-one, it could be group, but like, you know, there's some materials and then you show up to calls and then, you know, there's some help to implement that stuff. Or it's done for you, right? And this is when they build something for you, they do the work for you. They're like, we'll ask you some questions, we'll talk to you, and we'll build your content strategy. We will write your book for you. We will um, run your ads for you. And that's great, right? The issue with that model is that generally, the more money you want to make, not always, but generally, the more performance there is, the more effort there is, because more money requires us to digest more complexity in the expertise world. This, in the frequency world, the model is actually done through you because the primary function is transmission. And the more you transmit your relationship to the outcome, which, Bryn, for you, it's like a, your relationship to yourself, to your wounds, to your shadow, to the deepest parts of yourself, so that you can vomit out a book that changes the world, right? For John, it's this relationship to creativity and expression and, you know, how to, um, take people on a journey on YouTube that, allows you to feel just divinely expressed and know yourself through your art, but also really makes an impact in the world. Gunther, for you, it's a relationship to your body, a level of precision in understanding this vessel in such a precise way, in such a like, attuned way that the way you move is, custom built for how your body is designed to move. John Barry, for you, it's like being this source of wisdom and authority, connecting someone back to their wisdom and their authority on the inside, right? And when you realize that the ultimate sale you can make is that wrapped with a worldview, like your unique way of seeing the world and your domain, and you also have the structure, you also have the expertise because you are an expert in your field, we invert the model, right? And the thing that is the primary thing that is being sold increases your connection to source and increases your connection to that frequency instead of abstracting it out with like 18 support coaches and, piles of homework and all that stuff. and it's way more effective. This is between you and God, right? The ultimate mother and father is for us is God.
Yeah.
That's why we choose human parents who are deeply flawed, perfect in their own right, but deeply flawed. Because there is no such thing as perfect parenting. The reason is if there was, there would be no reason to reach for God. The whole point of this game is to reach for God. The whole point of this game is to pray to God. The whole point of this game is to connect to God and come closer to God. And a business that doesn't get us closer to God is not our highest expression, right? And the wounds are a feature, not a bug, because the wounds are what allow us to reach for God. The fear, right? The pain, like all the things that were like, if this was different, if this was gone, if I didn't feel this way. No, that's the point. Like, I haven't gotten on my fucking knees and prayed when everything was great. When, you know, tons and tons of money are pouring into my bank account every month, and I'm like, just la la la. Nope, it's not when I prayed to God, right? I prayed to God when I was like, I, I, I'm out of ideas. I don't know what to do. I can't see, I can't even see the next step. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel so lost. I feel so scared, right? The ultimate party trick is knowing that you are God, right? So the point is not to pray to God outside you as this external thing who can grant you wishes like a genie, because the whole game we're playing is recognizing the God inside. And when you recognize that you are God, you are an expression of God, therefore you are perfect and you are connected to everything. You are one with everything, so you can never be separate. You can never be not worthy. You can never be not deserving of love, of empathy, of compassion, of abundance, right? Then you realize the game that's within the game, right? Which is the game is actually to know yourself as God and play this game on God mode, right? And what that looks like is knowing that you have God's security inside you always. It never went away. You just have to connect to it every day. You have God level abundance available to you, but you forgot because we forget and then we remember, right? And that's part of the game. That you have God level ease inside you. You have God level love inside. Like it's all here. It's all here right now. And the point is not to do the things that make us deserving and get there eventually. The point is to start there and create from there. That's what I mean when I say creating. God is creating through us, but we are creating through God, right? Any other way would be an act of separation. You'd be like, oh, if I crush my to-do list for the next 5 years, then maybe. No, it's like, so my invitation to you is like, develop that relationship to God and pray to God and feel held by God. Because no human can give us that, right? And our ego will never give us that. And that's again by design, because otherwise we would not reach for that. And the more you reach, the more you'll find. The more you look for that, the more you'll find that. The more you look through fear, the more fear you'll find, right? That's why in a conventional sense, when an entrepreneur is like, okay, tell me what I need to do, they will find lots of things to do. The game we're playing is show me who to be, right? Like, God, show me how to be a vessel and a channel for your creation. Like, I surrender, not because I abdicate my power, because I only can come into my true power when I let my mind get out of the way and let inspiration flow. The mind is built to be a receiver, right? It's like confusing the radio with the radio station. And when we connect to God, it's like tuning the dial to the right frequency. And when each of us connects our respective radios to the right frequency, a different, unique melody plays. And that is your unique melody. That's the melody you were incarnated to create through you. And if you play any other melody, there will be a ceiling on how much money that'll make, how much joy it'll give you, how much turn on it'll give you, right? So the work is to find our unique melody, our unique act of love, right? And then amplify that, scale that. Because that one choice, that one obsession, that one commitment has given me more than like anything else. And there's nothing special about me. Like it's all available to you. You're not charging for the frequency, you're charging to what it takes to maintain the vessel and the connection to the frequency. That's one of the reasons why money is important. Because otherwise it fucks up the someone's ability to receive it. The first distinction is that the fact that it's coming through and it's effortless is the point.
Right.
Second, for it to feel effortless, we have to do a whole bunch of work, right? You've had to go on a very long journey to get to the place where you can even access that frequency, let alone stabilize it, let alone have it run from the tap on demand, right? So all that takes energy.
Right.
So you need to be compensated in the form of money energy for that.
Mm.
Second, when someone pays you money, they enter into a contract with their higher self.
Mm.
Without that contract, they cannot receive what they are longing for, right? Because it's like having one side of a contract without the other. You, then it's not a contract, right? The
Mm-hmm.
circuit isn't complete. So this is an energetic circuit that requires a contract because without the contract, there is no structure holding the flow of energy. That's what an offer creates. An offer is an invitation to be in contract, right? And that's why we have to be very precise and attuned to ourselves and others in how we define that contract. Because we don't want to be in contract with certain people, right?
Yes.
So that's why money is essential. It's an essential part of the formula because money is not money. Money is money is blood. Money is circulation.
Mm.
And it's like without that thing circulating, like it disrupts the whole field. right? Money is just a token. It's a representation.
Mm.
It's not real, right?
Yeah.
But we need a token. We need a representation to make the game work. I can draw this out for you, just so you have a visual,
Yeah.
because it makes sense. So this is you, and this is your higher self. This is them, and this is their higher self. And there is this energetic, you know, exchange happening. This is the architecture, right? So so you, them, this is higher self, call it regular self. So the way this game works is when they give you money, it allows you and them to enter into a smart contract,
Mm-hmm.
which then completes the circuit for them to receive access to what they're looking for, which then
Mm.
flows to them. So this is the energetic circuit, right? That's why money is important.
Yeah. And just having like this is just making me so happy. I don't know why. Like I, yeah, having a challenge putting in words, but it's just like this feeling is like lighting me up and like, yes, okay, circuit complete. Like,
Because it makes it for you, the understanding of the architecture actually unlocks energy for you. The frequency has its own intelligence. So you don't have to worry about that, right? You just have to be the best conduit of it as possible and increase its surface area in the world as much as possible.
yeah.
Because the more you do it, the deeper your connection with it and the greater its power to do what it wants to in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the greater the potency of it, so the more people who are ready to receive it will show up.
Right.
And you're
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of and you're kind of watching me go from, 5D with a 3D mask to taking the 3D mask off,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Which needed to happen exactly in this way on this timeline for you to see it, because that's gonna be like, oh, it is actually possible.
Yes.
Because now I'm not holding or hiding that, right? I'm not holding that back or hiding it.
No. And that excites me.
We're
Like,
we're we're all we've all been trying to create with a mask on, and then wondering, why does this not feel as good as I thought it would? Why does this feel harder than I thought it would? Like, why does this take so much out of me? Why does this not feel, you know, orgasmic and ecstatic because we've had a mask on, like, and nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, that's exactly what needed to happen at that time for like the progression. But, something is changing in the field. Like, I I can feel like at a collective level, something very deep is changing where the performativeness is becoming very painful for people. Like I'm watching people who I don't know from afar kind of spaz out and burn things down, like completely like go a little off the rails. Some in public, some in private,
Yep.
but people are reaching the ceiling on those strategies. And most people, they don't know, they have no context for what's happening. It just feels like a fucking being in a washing machine. And so this is the moment that the world opens up for you guys, for all of us, because you're here to be a frequency holder. Like you're meant to attune to a frequency and be a channel through which other people can attune to that frequency because people need you in your clearest, purest expression, right? Because that's the medicine that the world needs right now. And I, like I can't turn away the orders from HQ to create a space for frequency holders to like, and it comes in different forms, right? Like Eli is a frequency holder. And sometimes he may not like relate to it in that way, but he's holding a frequency of like joy, love, connection, intimacy, wealth, like travel, wonder, curiosity, joy, like that. And these businesses can look any number of ways. That's the whole point. Like what one person does and builds is not necessarily a reference map for someone else. Your soul has the blueprint. No fucking business coach is going to give you a blueprint that's going to be better than your soul's blueprint. Right? God has a design for you. Like no human being can give you a better design than the one God has. As in, you can give followers access to products and, communities and trainings and stuff like that. But you have to give proximity to you to leaders because they are at a different level of consciousness they're not like, hey, do this for me or tell me exactly what to do. Because that's the expertise model, right? The frequency model is like, when I'm around you, something changes in me and something becomes possible, something becomes normalized. My entire being recalibrates to a different level and it feels really fucking good. So, like, how do we do this? Like, that's the sale. It's not oh, I put you on a pedestal because you've done these things, you've created these things, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, if I get close to you, then I can look up and stare through the sphincter and into your, because that game is going to be corrosive for you guys, right? You don't want that because like, that person will pull you down,
Yes.
right? You want someone who is inherently and intrinsically motivated for you to be as connected to your source as possible. Because the only way to win in a frequency-based business is doing the things and having the people around us and having the architecture that over time can only increases our connection with our frequency versus separating, right, with all these layers of abstraction and performance and support coaches and there's a higher level of time we can align to and organize around, which is divine timing, which is time relating to time, not from an active place and not from a passive place either.
Hmm.
There's actually a third state, which is full engagement without any attachment.
Hmm. Can you share more?
So, time, the way most people experience it, is a straitjacket. They live inside of time, right? And it feels tight because they experience an absence of time. There's
Right.
not enough time, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's always a scarcity of time,
Right.
right? So they're tight on time. Or there's an urgency and an anxiety,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So the common response is to either grip tighter or in some cases fall into the opposite extreme, which is complete letting go and abdication, right? Which is passive,
Right.
where it's like, ah, whatever, like,
Right.
I don't care. Like, if it happens kind of energy.
Right. Right. Which is really just resignation.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But there's another way we can relate to time, which is full engagement, which allows us to have full aliveness,
Hmm.
but with zero attachment to how it plays out.
Mm. Mm. Totally. Yeah, desire without attachment.
And that keeps us connected to the turn on
Right.
because we don't want to lose the turn on, but it actually, because we're not needing to know exactly when and be able to predict when something needs to happen, it allows us to be even more in contact with the energy that's trying to move through us. And you're not doing it in a dissociated way where you're like, okay, I can't do this right now, nor are you doing it from like, oh my God, it's the perfect right relationship. So you've deepened your connection to the frequency. You've deepened your embodiment of the frequency. You've deepened the wisdom that's flowing through. And so the act of creation just became so much more potent.